Hola, ¿cómo están? I'm Dee. About to react to a What Culture Wrestling video. This is Ups and Downs from AEW Dark from October 29th. Okay, so yeah, we're going to see what AEW Dark was about. I don't know if it's pay-per-view or what, but we're going to see what they say. I'll do these Ups and Downs videos here and there. Side note, the last Raw highlight video I put up, I actually got a strike from that, which is some bullshit because the person who put it up, the channel who put it up, their videos are still up. They didn't get no strike, but my shit gets striked and removed. Like, you can't win for losing. So I'm staying completely away from all things wrestling unless it's a compilation or it's like ups and downs or anything like that, because I ain't got time to play with these people. How you gonna strike my shit? Like, bruh. Anyway, let's see how AEW Dark was. Let's watch.
I don't want to get overly too much into this whole WWE versus NXT or AEW versus NXT thing, but I will say that right now I think we have a brand new champion.
Simon, that sweater is
what
kind
is
of
the
small,
easiest wrestling show to watch category. It was NXT before it went to 2 hours. I mean, 60 minutes on that was just a breeze. But now the award, the medal, the championship goes to AEW Dark. I mean, it flies by like a damn plane. That's why every Wednesday morning I sit down and I watch those 60 minutes with a big smile on my face.
Oh,
and then come on here on What Culture Wrestling on YouTube and give the good bits up and the bad bits are down. Finger of power, Simon Miller, let's up those downs.
Why like a sitcom intro or something?
Cody Rhodes made a big deal of QT Marshall on last week's episode of Dark, and that's why it was kind of cool to see him in action here. He was teaming up with Peter Avalon to take on Sonny Kiss and Dustin Rhodes, and then he just lost. Sucks to be him. But and I know a lot of people aren't big fans of the Librarians, because Leva Bates was out here too. But what have you got to moan about? They seem to be exclusive to AEW Dark. They act like assholes and then get their ass whipped. It's not like they ever come out to the side smelling of peaches and cream. Bates did grab Sonny Kiss's foot at one point, which allowed Peter Avalon to get the advantage. And then when Sonny was trying to get the big tag, Avalon grabbed his legs and made him do the splits and then applied a chin lock. It's kind of cool. It's kind of different. Bates kept getting involved and at one point just decided to launch herself at Dustin Rhodes and he caught her in midair. And do you know how she tried to get out of that? By showing him her book. Unsurprisingly, Dustin was like, I don't give two shibs about your book. He took her, he put her on the top turnbuckle, he turned around, he saw Avalon running at him, so he sidestepped, and the two librarians got together. Fair play to Leva Bates. She took a pretty bad fall. That's what it looked like. That allowed Dustin to hit the final reckoning.
Are you gonna say she tried to show her titties? I'm confused. I don't know what books mean.
You know the deal here. I've already explained it. It's nice and easy. You don't have to overthink it. It's just entertainment.
Is that British slang?
For entertainment's sake. Well,
is that wrestling slang? I don't know what that means.
As best as we can. Talk about bringing down the tone. Let's bring it back up. Following this, we had Emi Sakura versus Ali versus Penelope Ford versus Sadie Gibbs. And look, when it does come to All Elite Wrestling, one of my favorite things about it is that I'm being able to see new wrestlers that beforehand I wasn't overly familiar with. That's really exciting. It means when you do tune into Dark or Dynamite or pay-per-views or whatever, you may just be about to find your new favorite professional wrestler. With that said, no, this didn't really flow as many people would have hoped for or many would have been expected. And sometimes you just gotta call a spade a spade. I need to get that on a t-shirt. So down. I think overall, it's just fair to say that at the moment, the AEW women's division is a work in progress. And let me make it straight.
Really? It looked dope when I saw it.
Saying this was bad. They absolutely worked their asses off. And there were some cool scenarios within this. It just didn't have the usual sheen and polish that we've come to expect from AEW. If you haven't watched Ups and Downs before, we do great on a curve. So you can't blame me, you've got to blame the education system. Given that it was a four-way, we were always going to get some alliances at some point, and that came down to Gibbs and Ford, who did come together to try and beat up Ali. But as always, as soon as she was down, neither of them could decide who was allowed to get the pin. So they just started to kick each other's ass. But at one point, they all came together to try and fight off Sakura, and that didn't work very well now, did it? She got out of that and hit Ford with the Tiger Driver for the win, which should give her a title shot at some point down the line. Also, hopefully this serves as somewhat as an introduction to all four of these women to the crowd, because it did feel like they were sitting on their hands just a teeny little bit here. probably because they were waiting for faces that they recognise, and I can understand that. You think you're about to see a Kenny Omega or a Cody Rhodes or the Young Bucks, you're like, well, I conserve my energy for them, but now you do know who these people are. Hopefully you can get behind them, and when you see them next time, you can shout and scream like a crazy person. Again, that's not a criticism, that's not a negative, it's part and parcel of having a brand new promotion, as I've already said. MJF was then on Cody's undesirable to undeniable, and I'm not going to start giving these ups or downs because I have a feeling that every single one is going to be absolutely badass. I mean, we're 3 for 3 at the moment. You should just seek these out and give them a few minutes of your time. Give him the double thumbs. The double thumbs all around. This one especially spoke to me because we had MJF talking about some of the anti-Semitism he had experienced when he was a child. As a fellow Jew, I've been there, I get it, and to see somebody overcome all of that and reach the height that he has, makes me feel damn good about life. It was flipping brilliant. This whole idea has been a massive success, and I genuinely can't wait to see who is going to be on next week's show, because look at it like this. MJF is meant to be a heel, we get all of that. I still want to know about him. I still know what wrestling is. And being able to sort of like see his personality splashed across my screen, it's a round of applause all around. Look at that. The double thumbs and the applause. They are kicking the ass. We also got a cool video promoting the finals of the tag team tournament that will be going down on Dynamite later. And we had an interview with Kip Sabian, who is also going to be on that show. And he is going to be teaming with Jack Evans and Angelico, or however the hell you want to pronounce it. Look, I'm a stupid British person. What do you want from me? And they're going to be going against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. What an opportunity for those three guys. I mean, we should kind of just stop calling this AEW Dark and start calling it AEW Dynamite 2, because you can get so much from this. Kip Sabian then said to Alex Mares, who was conducting the interview, "I hate you." Yeah, that was the end of that. Our last match saw Darby Allin taking on Jimmy Havoc and Jack Evans, and given who was in this, you won't be surprised to hear that it was absolutely nuts. Giving it up. Allin and Evans started things and they were going around about 722 miles an hour, and Jimmy Havoc wasn't a big fan of that, so when Jack Evans went to dive on him, he just picked up a chair and threw it into his face. Now usually I don't like that, so that poor guy's skull, he's going to get concussion or something.
Right.
This was actually done a lot safer, so while it lacked the impact that you may expect from a spot like this, I actually prefer it, because I know what a loser, what a nerd, what a geek. I want human beings to be safe, and I want human beings to be healthy.
Me too.
Someone bury me in the ground. Jimmy dived over the guardrail into the crowd at one point because he's absolutely bonkers, and so is Jack Evans, who started handing out suplexes on the apron. There was also more dives, more chairs, and more moves onto chairs, including a Tiger Driver 98 that Havoc hit onto Darby Allin, and when Jack Evans broke up that pin, Jimmy was so annoyed by this, he picked up a chair and he threw it into his face. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming to, I presume, a ring near you soon, Jimmy Havoc and his chair, the most dominating tag team in pro wrestling history. Fans had been chanting for tables throughout all of this, and eventually Jimmy Havoc went, all right, fine, I'll give you what he wants. But he didn't keep things basic. Of course he didn't. He took the bit of wood, he wedged it between the ropes, and then he took Jack Evans up to the top rope, and he power drove him from there through the table. What on earth is going on? Darby Allin then appeared out of nowhere, and he hit the coffin drop onto both of them while holding a steel chair beneath his ass. I mean, the end of this was a little bit nuts, a little bit messy. It was a little bit all over the place. Obviously,
it sounds chaotic.
After that, but if you didn't enjoy this, I guess it wasn't for you. I guess you could call it hardcore wrestling. And that's not going to be for everybody now, is it?
It's for me. I want to see.
Some proper hard-hitting action, and this wasn't even happening on AEW's main show. As I've already said, I don't like comparing them, but let's be honest. If WWE main event put on matches like this, more of us would absolutely be tuning in to WWE main event. I mean, at the moment, I think it's just Mojo Rawley and his blue face. I don't still know.
Why you don't like comparing to? I compare it to all the time. AEW is way better.
Simon Miller, What Culture Wrestling, What Culture Land, What Culture Road, WCTLRE, XOXO. Thanks. Which brought us to a close of another episode of AEW Dark, and I think I've already made my opinions on this clear. If you give me a really short wrestling show to watch and you ramp it with talent and you just fill it with great entertaining matches, the only thing I can do is get my giant arrow and give it a nut. Now, you can completely miss this and completely ignore it if you so choose. It's not going to affect your AEW watching experience. But I'm just glad it exists, especially because, as we already talked about, we've got a whole new roster we need to introduce to the world. You don't just have to do it on Dynamite. You can do it here, you can do it there, you can do it everywhere. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and ask.
Okay, AEW, like, it was pretty cool. It seemed like it was a pretty cool little show or whatever. I thought it was on pay-per-view, but it doesn't seem like it was. It seems like this is just a segment of AEW Dark, I guess. Not sure. I don't know if it's just like WWE SmackDown, WWE Raw, so AEW Dark, and maybe they have AEW something else. Not exactly sure. But the way he described it sounded like it was cool. It sounded like it was entertaining though. But y'all let me know. Let me know what other videos you want me to react to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!